Here we have my Abu Dhabi Grand Prix F1 driver ratings. So I made this uh, yesterday at 6 p.m. after the race, so I had no time to reflect. And most of the ratings stay the same as I had done them, but some have changed from when I did them. So I've just edited them up now. Um, we'll see. I'll tell you which ones I've changed. So we have Lando Norris. This is all in 2024 constructors order, and then I think I've got it in driver order as well, like within the teams. So we have Lando Norris. I gave him an 8 out of 10, despite being the new world champion. Um, he doesn't get a 10 out of 10. He did everything he needed to do, but he didn't do anything more, and that's what gets you an 10 out of 10. He just needed P3. He got P3. And I thought it was a brilliant overtake on Yuki, brilliant overtake through traffic on, I think it was Lawson and Stroll, or Hajjar and Stroll. Same as Leclerc, but I think got overtaken by Piastri at turn 9 with faster tyres and warmer tyres. So there was stuff he could have done better, but he didn't need to, so it doesn't matter. Oscar Piastri, if it would load. There you go. Oscar Piastri, his little Hungarian Grand Prix victory. I gave him a 9 out of 10 because I think, I don't know, looking back at the weekend, I think that he didn't have the pace to outqualify Max, but had he of outqualified him, then I would have given him a 10. But the fact he stayed second, he got second, stayed second, he had a bad strategy. I don't know if that was his side of the garage that chose that or he chose that, but he was, I think, 2-3 seconds behind when Max pitted, and because Piastri was on the harder tyre, he went long and then pitted later and ended up, I think, 8 seconds behind Verstappen after chasing. Then we have Charles Leclerc. I think Charles Leclerc had a brilliant race. I think without him, the race would have been boring. It was very tense, but not exciting, I don't think. I think with Charles pressuring Lando, it looked like he could get Lando, which is the only reason he's not got a 10, because I think he could have done had he been a bit more, have been less cautious. But I think the way he's resting that tractor SF25, I don't think there's any chance of him really getting past Lando. So I think 9's harsh, but it could be a 10. And then we have Lewis Hamilton, qualified horrifically once again, out in Q1 for the third consecutive time, first time out of any full time Ferrari driver, I'm pretty sure. But he then redeemed himself. I think he got finished P8 with 4 points, which isn't great, but it's a good thing to build on to the next year. And you won't be seeing him over winter because he has thrown his phone in the bin. Um, yeah, so I gave him a 7 out of 10. Pretty awful qualifying. That's why it's not any higher. I think I would have probably given him an 8, just even if he qualified P8 and got P8. That's an okay qualifying. Q3 is obviously a blessing for Ferrari right now. Well, for Lewis. So we move on to Max Verstappen, the winner of the Grand Prix. I gave him a 10 out of 10, let's be honest. Basically beat Piastri by a pit stop. By the time Piastri had come in, there was no chance Piastri was going to be anywhere near him. And just controlled the pace. He could have done maybe a bit more to hold up the pack, but he didn't. He didn't think he should. Yuki Tsunoda, awful defense of Lando Norris. I think to me that's displayed why he's been out of the sport. And I love Yuki. I love him dearly, but I don't think he could have done much more. But the way he did it was very wrong. He could have maybe tried to stay within Norris for after the 6-7 chicane and got DRS and gone past. But yeah, I think overall it was a bad Grand Prix. Qualified, I think, quite well, but then finished P14, I think, in the end. George Russell. Now, he is an odd one. He qualified P4 ahead of Charles Leclerc, finished behind Charles Leclerc in P5. So I gave him a 7. I think he could have fought Charles Leclerc, but the only reason it's not possibly lower than a 7 is the fact that he had brake problems, or he seemed to have his brakes were going long. It seemed to hinder him by 30 seconds. He finished 25 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, I think, something like that. Then we have Kimi Antonelli and my clanger driver, whatever, big flop came through as he got a 3 out of 10 because he qualified P14 and finished P17 and just looked absolutely nowhere. That's all I have to say. Fernando Alonso, not much to be said here. The GOAT, maybe not, but the GOAT, P10, not P10, P6, I think he finished in the end. Brilliant drive, honestly brilliant. Seemed to go under the radar the whole race, but yeah, no, brilliant drive, brilliant. Lance Stroll qualified, I think, in Q2, which is brilliant in and of itself for him. And he then goes and puts a great strategy. Maybe he said maybe pitted 1 or 2 laps late. That's fine. Could have got P8, he said. But P10's, well, P9 and then the 5 second is still a great race for Lance with all the overtaking and everything. So I gave him an 8 out of 10, maybe a 7. That was one of the one I changed to an 8 afterwards. But yeah, I think he did brilliantly. Now Pierre, somehow Alpine managed to get themselves to 6th place last year. I think it's because of the double Brazil podium. But he gets a 4 out of 10. Sadly for Mr. Pierre Gasly fan, he just seemed, well, the Alpine just seemed shocking, and Franco was a bit too close. I think by the end, I think 3-4 seconds. And Pierre had a 5 seconds, so that's the reason I think I would give him a 5 because I didn't expect Alpine to be anywhere. I expected him to be 19th, but the 5 second I gave him a 4. Franco just slower than Pierre, didn't get a 5 seconds, just slower than Pierre, so I gave him a 4 out of 10 as well. Very under the radar Alpine again. Pierre needs to fulfill that promise of thinking he can get the championship or at least get wins next year. Esteban Ocon. Brilliant race, honestly. I don't think he qualified very well, if I remember. P12, maybe. But he finished P9, I think. I don't think... No, he finished... I'm not sure. He finished in the top 10, which is brilliant for Ocon. Out-qualified Berman, I think, barely into Q3. And then won the teammate battle in the race. Did the strategy well. P9 for a Haas team is superb. So I gave him a 9 out of 10. Ollie Behrman is a 5 out of 10. He was exactly what I expected. Has to be around here. Qualified P12, finished P14, I think, something like that. Maybe the other way around. But yeah, it was exactly where I expected it to be. Maybe 6th, 7th fastest on track. So he didn't do anything. He got 5 seconds, but he didn't really do anything wrong. I don't think I saw on the broadcast what he did wrong. I may have a look, but I think he's driving erratically. But I think a 5 out of 10 is fair enough. It's exactly where I expected. Hadjar. Now, this is a weird one. Most people qualified awfully and then got up, and that's why I've given them really high ratings. Hadjar qualified well, got P9 or P10, and the strategy I thought it was the strategy that was really poor. So I gave him a 6 or a 7 initially because I know he got P17, but I thought it was another RB masterclass of shit strategy, which they used to do with Yuki last year and sometimes this year. So he went from P9 to P17 or P18. Anyways, he got lapped. Same as Lawson. So I gave him a 5 out of 10 because I don't know how much he could have done. More Q3s now than Lewis Hamilton this season. So that's brilliant, but I don't know what really happened to his pace. Liam Lawson I gave a 4 just because he didn't qualify as well, P12, and then finished P19, I think. Very, very poor race from RP. Move on to Carlos Sainz. Very, very disappointing. Not very disappointing, but his qualifying, I think, was top 10 or was Q2, high Q2s, and he just didn't seem to have the pace. Williams, I think Crofty said it, very, very anonymous this weekend. So I gave him a 6 just because it would be a 5 because he just did okay, but he then beat Alex Albon. So Alex, I gave a 4 because I'm pretty sure he got a 5 second as well for track limits. So just it would be a 5, but penalty point, whatever. It's very harsh, very pernickety, but I just gave him a 4. Nico Hulkenberg, here's one of them that qualified poorly, same as Lewis, and then fought their way back with, I don't know, really, strategy, good result, good pace. Not really too sure. But I had Hulkenberg good surprise, and I think that maybe holds strong. But I was more thinking, oh, he'll qualify like he did last couple of years, P5, P6, somewhere around there. No, let's qualify P18. But his pace was sublime, it seemed like. Um, I've just realised I forgot to make a final slide in the overview, but I'll just go back through. But yeah, Hulk was brilliant. P9, qualified P18. It beat Bortoletto, so I gave him a P. I gave him a 7 out of 10. Gabby, however, qualified top 10. I keep saying everyone's qualified top 10. It feels like everyone did. Let me have a. I swear everyone qualified. Pete. Felt like everyone qualified top 10. Give me a second. Races. Abu Dhabi qualifying. I know he got to Q2, Q3. Bortoletto P7, Ocon P8, Hajar P9, Sonoda P10. Got you. And he didn't set a final up. Yes, yeah, now I remember. Ocon out qualified Behrman, that's why he got an 8 or a 9. Sainz out qualified Albon by 3 tenths in Q1. So that's why he got a 6. Lawson was out qualified by Hadjar by a 10th, which is why I gave him a 4. Anyway, Gabriel Bortoletto started P7 and finished the race. I think due to bad strategy rather than poor race pace, P11, which isn't too bad, but it's not exactly where I expect Gabby to be after a qualifying result of P7, especially when Hulk, Hamilton, Stroll all qualified poorly and got up. I think they all went soft, hard, medium, soft, medium, medium, something like that. All the people that redeemed their qualifyings. So yeah, uh, that's it. My banger drivers were, I think, Max Verstappen. I'm going to count Ocon in there because I think I'm being harsh with not giving him that. P7. Ocon, not Ocon. Ocon, Max, Fernando Alonso, and that's it. That's my banger drivers. This man and this man, all with a 10 out of 10. And we have Lance Stroll. I thought did brilliant. My clangers were Kimi Antonelli with a 3. Finished P15, sorry, not P17. But on race pace, he was 36 seconds behind George Russell, and was only the second driver. Well, Albon was P16 and wasn't lapped. Anthony was the other one that was not lapped. Hadjar, Lawson, or Gasly, Colapinto all got lapped. Albon received a 5 second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's why I gave Albon a 4. Gasly received a 5 second for exceeding track limits. Stroll and Behrman received 5 second time penalties. He didn't get hindered rating wise by the 5 seconds because he managed to redeem himself so much, and because it's I respect Lance Stroll. I think he is a good driver. I think he's pacey and everything, especially in the wet. But recent track record, I can't really say. Oh, it was 5 seconds. Isn't really that weird for him, despite his only 2 DNF this season being in the last 2 Grand Prix. But yeah, anyway, overall, both Alpines 4s, Ocon 9, Haas very, very differing days. Hadjar, RB. I think RB were the clangiest team. I don't think Williams were that bad. I think they were just kind of where they needed to be. I think Hadjar being a 5 is a bit too high right now, but I don't know. Paul, brilliant seasons. I'll probably be releasing driver rankings, like so who actually did the best if you take out the cars and whatnot. Lando isn't top. That's not really a surprise for anyone. But I do personally on the Lando beef with him winning. I think not every champion is a deserving. No, he's a deserving champion, but but not every champion is the best driver that year. We've just been spoiled by Hamilton and Verstappen. Like he's still better than I don't know Damon Hill. I think wasn't really the best driver in his year, or a few others like Hamilton, like Alonso's 2010 season. I think he didn't win the championship, or Kimi. Oh, Kimi did win that year actually. Either way, I don't think he was that bad. I think he's a deserving champion, just not to that extent.